Well, thanks for staying with us. You're watching WION World is One. My name is Mohammed Saleh, and this is, of course, the big story that we are tracking on WION. In less than an hour from now, the no-confidence motion against the Imran Khan government will be tabled in Pakistan. But there are developments that are taking place even before that. In the latest, the opposition has now decided to corner the speaker. Remember, the role of the speaker in any no-confidence motion remains very critical. The opposition parties in Pakistan's National Assembly have now submitted a no-confidence motion against the Speaker, Asad Qaiser. They've accused Asad Qaiser, the National Assembly Speaker, of being very partisan in his approach all throughout the no-confidence motion. And they have said that so long as Asad Qaiser continues to remain the Speaker, it is not possible for a fair and a free no-confidence motion to be brought up and to be carried through on the floor of the House in the National Assembly. This, of course, is the latest development that we've got as we speak. And my colleague Anas Malik is presently in the National Assembly in Islamabad. He's joining us live on this broadcast. Now, Anas, this of course, is a crucial moment in Imran Khan's political career. It's difficult to predict as to what is likely to happen because the alliances keep shifting. The alliance partners, although they say one thing, the next minute they turn around, they've said something else. But as things stack up, the numbers are not looking favourable for the Imran Khan government. But before we get to that, the fact that the opposition has tried to corner the Speaker, Asad Qaiser, and accused him of being partisan, tell us a bit about how crucial the role of Asad Qaiser will be in carrying out the proceedings today in the National Assembly in Pakistan.
Well, the role of the Speaker, Saleh, is very, very crucial to the proceedings of today because he is going to chair and preside and oversee the vote of no confidence today. What we understand is that the PTI government had been heavily, and I repeat, heavily banking on the role of the Speaker for perhaps what they believe that he could be somewhat favorable towards them. And yesterday we saw the media reports on prominent TV channels as well, where different proposals with the Speaker were put under consideration in context of the no confidence motion and the vote. Now, what is very clear is that first, the vote of no confidence against the Prime Minister is to happen. And then, in case if that succeeds or does not, in case if that fails, then the vote of no confidence or the motion of no confidence for the Speaker would be tabled. That's a longer process. But that being said, the opposition has little or no trust in the Speaker. They've been accusing the Speaker of being partisan, of being blatantly pro-PTI. That's what they say. They say that the Speaker, and per rules, Speaker is supposed to be the custodian of the House. But there is a divided opinion. And of course there would be, because opposition says that he is partisan, heavily pro-PTI. The PTI says that Speaker is not partisan. Speaker is the chair of the House, and he is presiding over the House in the most efficient manner. So there seems to be a split on that. But going forward, today's move is very, very critical and crucial. But before that, in roughly an hour from now, in fact, in less than an hour from now, what is crucial is the vote of the no confidence against the Pakistani Prime Minister, for which the members of the Assembly have already started to pour in here where I'm standing. Saleh?
Absolutely indeed. Now, we saw the visuals of the members of the parliament in Pakistan walk into the parliament just a little while back, and you also spoke with the former Prime Minister, Shahid Khan Abbasi. And what a lot of people at this point of time, Anas, are also looking at is, will this vote happen today? Because as you mentioned and as you raised the question with Shahid Khan Abbasi, one of the very real possibilities is that there could be unruly behaviour by the parliamentarians and the Speaker may decide to adjourn the House. How likely is that to happen?
That's a lesser of a probability at this point of time, Saleh. But we've previously seen that happening. What you have to understand is that voting is not the only agenda item on the agenda. There are other agenda items as well. And before that, it's the question hour. In the last session on Thursday, we saw that question hour was, as per the Deputy Speaker, that as per him, the opposition was not serious in proceeding with the proceedings of the House for the day. So in case if in today's question hour, if we see something similar, then there could probably be a collusion as well. But the probability of that remains very less. And this is the question that can only be answered in less than an hour from now when the vote of no confidence happens. Saleh?
And also, how confident is the opposition of carrying out this vote of no confidence? Because it appears, at this point of time that the opposition has got the numbers, but how confident are they of toppling the government?
Well, they're very confident. The opposition says that they have visibly achieved the numbers, visibly. And they claim that they've got the majority, but that's the claim. All what boils down to is the vote that happens in a short while from now, the session when it begins, who walks into the side in favor of the no confidence motion, who walks in against. That's what it will boil down to. Essentially, on paper, the ruling party has about 165 members. The opposition has 175. So that's quite of a split that's there. That one party that if they decide to abstain from the vote of no confidence and not show up, that's the MQM. They're here at the assembly, but in case if they decide to abstain, that would be the key point, because in that way the opposition would be dropped down to 170 votes, and by virtue of that, the Prime Minister would still remain, and therefore, so all eyes would be on the vote that happens in a very short while from now. Visibly, the Pakistani Prime Minister's incumbent government does not have the numbers, but they say that they have a surprise rolled up their sleeves. They'll be pulling a rabbit out of the hat, quite literally, and in a short while from now, we'd get to know what is that very surprise that has been spoken about at length over the past few days. Saleh?
Absolutely, indeed. A rabbit to be pulled out of the hat. Can Imran Khan do it? That of course, is the big question. Others do continue to stay on with us, but I want to play that little chat that you had with the former Pakistani Prime Minister Shahid Khan Abbasi while he was making his way to the National Assembly. And it is very interesting as to what he had to say about what will be the course of action of the opposition parties and what happens if the vote were to get disrupted. Listen in to what the former Pakistani Prime Minister Shahid Khan Abbasi have to say.
Strategy is very simple. There is a vote today. 342 people are eligible to vote. We'll go in the House. The Speaker will ask for voting. The people in favor of the motion will go to one direction. The people against the motion will go to the other direction. That's it.
But if there are plans that we heard that there are to disrupt the proceedings as well, what is the government's strategy then?
How can they disrupt the proceedings? This is the job of the Speaker. It's a voting session. There's no debate, there's nothing. It's the job of the Speaker to keep the House in order.
We've previously seen that these delay tactics have been used in order to disrupt the debate as well. What if the same is implied today then?
Well, the Speaker is responsible. But the voting will take place. It's a constitutional requirement. Today is the last day of voting. The Speaker does not hold the voting for any reason today. He is liable for prosecution under the Constitution.
All right, so that was the former Pakistani Prime Minister Shahid Khan Abbasi stating that the role of the Speaker is going to be very, very crucial, and it is important that the Speaker should ensure that there is no disruption in voting in this vote of no confidence that the opposition has brought against the incumbent Prime Minister. And also to get us more insights in terms of what is likely to happen in the National Assembly in Pakistan, we are joined in by Dr. Hamid Khan, who's a journalist and also a strategic affairs expert who's joining us live from Manchester in the United Kingdom. Now, Dr. Khan, thank you very much indeed for taking time out and speaking to us here on WION. This is a crucial day for Pakistan. Imran Khan's government is hanging on by a thread. A vote of no confidence is expected to take place in less than an hour from now. How do you see things playing out?
Thank you very much, Saleh. Actually, it is more than a threat now that, we have seen that opposition have shown their numbers, which are more than the required number of 172 to be able to have successful vote of no confidence against Prime Minister Imran Khan. And we have seen in last session of National Assembly that they had over 175, members of the National Assembly. So at the moment, all the figures and the numbers are in favor of opposition. But as you have said, and as Prime Minister has been saying for last many days, that he would come up with a surprise in the last moment. And we all are waiting for that surprise. There are possibilities still, as I keep saying, that their allies which have gone to the opposition like MQM and BAP, they might change their mind in the last minute, and they could come in favor of the government, and they could sit in the government benches, and it will change the whole game, because the difference is not much. I mean, we have seen in India many provincial governments were toppled with a difference of only one vote. But situation like that was never happened in Pakistan. But this time it is in Pakistan that one party or, with 5 or 6 votes can change the entire results. And this is what the situation is. And we are looking for what's going to happen in next 1 hour or up to 2 hours. But at the moment, it seems the game is in favor of opposition, Saleh.
Absolutely, indeed. Now, that is a crucial aspect is what is likely to happen with these smaller parties that were in alliance with the Imran Khan government. They're now sitting in the opposition camp. What do you think, Dr. Khan, will make this smaller parties and MQMP that was a part of the Imran Khan government, what could possibly make them come back into the Imran Khan camp again?
I'll tell you. I mean, I think Imran Khan have done a big mistake by not negotiating with them properly in last about week or 10 days ago, when they were asking for the governorship of the Sindh province, and they were, very much more than happy to stay with the government if they could have got the governorship of Sindh. And Imran Khan was very much reluctant to offer them, and he put his own government at stake. I would say that if he would have dealt with it properly in those days, he might have been much secure today. But again, who knows that what happened in last 24 hours. Might be they have agreed on something else, because there were two issues with MQM. One, there was at the time when they were allied, they wanted a port and shipping ministry in the federal government, and they wanted the governorship of the Sindh province, because they are in very much popularity in the Karachi and in the Sindh province. So I believe that if there is any chance of bringing them back into the government benches, is the only way that if the government will offer them governorship of Sindh and the port and shipping, and there is one more ministry they were asking for. So I think these are the 2-3 main negotiable terms. On the other hand, as government and Prime Minister have shown that conspiracy letter, and they have made this lettergate, scandal, it would have an impact, and MQM could have a big excuse that since they have come across, or they have come to know about this letter and the foreign interference in Pakistani politics, they might have a very good ground to change their stance back towards government, and they would get, less reaction from opposition because of their solid ground.
Very interesting. The way you put it, it appears that it is just a matter of some hard negotiation that Imran Khan needs to resort to try and get the parties of MQMP back into his alliance. But at this point of time, the opposition is going after the speaker. The role of the speaker is very crucial in any trust vote. They are accusing Asad Qaiser, the Speaker of the Pakistan National Assembly, of being partisan. How do you think all of this is likely to play out, and how crucial do you think will be the role of Asad Qaiser today?
Saleh, I mean, as we know, in every democracy where there is a parliamentary system, the role of speaker is very crucial. And especially in such time, it is very much, a big task for a speaker to stay neutral and do what Constitution says. I think he will do what Constitution says, and he should not try to be a party for government in any way. But still, there are two things which opposition is accusing him, that he delayed the whole process for about 48 hours or 2 days. And secondly, they are accusing him that he is trying to convince some opposition members to vote for the government. But it is all accusations. Let's see how he acts in the National Assembly today. But I believe that as far as the Constitution is being followed, as far as the procedures being followed, there is nothing much speaker can do as well, because everything is open not a secret voting at all. It is an open, one-sided, and people have to decide, and it will be open to everybody who's going towards which side.
Absolutely, indeed. That is something that we will get to know. 11:30 a.m. Pakistan time is what is said. So roughly in 45 minutes from now, we'll of course get to know as to what will happen. But Dr. Khan, also, tell us a bit about, some of the things that are being speculated upon, that Imran Khan at this point of time, it is quite possible that there could be some unruly behavior within the National Assembly, which may result in the National Assembly getting adjourned, and that could end up saving the Imran Khan government. Is that a likely possibility that you're looking at?
I believe it is highly unlikely. The only reason is that, if you look into the whole proceedings and everything, it does not require much time, first of all. Secondly, I believe that if they will do any tactics like that, it will hurt the popularity of the government itself. It will be rather better for Imran Khan to leave the premiership and come back for another election or stay in, as an opposition leader, rather than trying to, use the delaying tactics, because he has gained a lot of popularity back in the public. He has got, if you look at all the polls or the result of the 2 days before, local bodies election, they have clean sweep. So they have gained a very much popularity in Pakistan. So I think he should not his popularity which he gained due to his narrative that this opposition is working for some conspiracy and they are using money and they are involved in corruption and money laundering. So all that narrative which he has built and explained to the nation will go in his favor if he would not do any unfair tactics to keep himself in power. So this is a very crucial time, and I believe that Imran Khan should use more wisdom rather than being emotional.
Now, at this point of time, many people who are looking at it and also considering that Imran Khan is the World Cup winning captain for Pakistan are looking at, his political career. Is this now the final over in which Imran Khan is batting? What happens if he were to lose the vote of no confidence?
To be honest, it is a final over for one match. I take it like that if you want to ask me in a cricketing language, because in subcontinent it's easy to explain cricketing language. It could be one match who's into its last over, but even if he loses that, it's not that it is the end of the game. He can play another match in terms of another election. He can play another match in terms of becoming a prime minister again. So I think that government should not take it as the last thing. There is a lot of politics ahead. After this vote of no confidence, there is change going in Punjab province. That they are changing the chief minister. They can win there. They could have very strong position. Then they have very strong government in KPK. They have strong. They will become with a very strong opposition, which can bring another vote of no confidence in another 30 days. Or they might not let Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif selected as a Prime Minister with having no vote of confidence. And they could go for a re-election straight away next week or in next 90 days. Right. So I think the government should not take it as the last over and the last match. It could be one of the match, but it is not the final last match. In politics, there is nothing final, there is nothing last. So this is the difference between cricket and politics.
All right. Dr. Khan, thank you very much indeed for joining us and getting us all those insights. This, of course, is a very crucial moment for the Imran Khan government. It remains to be seen as to what will be the fate of this government in roughly 45 minutes from now. That is when we expect this vote of no confidence to in fact take place on the floor of the House in the National Assembly in Pakistan. Which way will the parliamentarians vote? How many of the parliamentarians will vote for the Imran Khan government? And has the opposition got the numbers with it? This of course, is the big, crucial question. Now, Imran Khan is still in power, but the opposition in Pakistan has already named a successor. Shehbaz Sharif is the brother of the former Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif and the current leader of Pakistan's opposition. Now, Bilawal Bhutto has said that Shehbaz Sharif will soon be Pakistan's Wazir-e-Azam, the Prime Minister. And our next report gets you more details as to Shehbaz Sharif and his political career so far.
Meet Shehbaz Sharif, the man who could replace Imran Khan to become Pakistan's next Prime Minister. The opposition has already thrown its weight behind him.
Shehbaz Sharif साहब जो जल्द ही इंशाअल्लाह ताला मुल्क का वज़ीर-ए-आज़म मुंतखब होगा.
Born in 1951, Shehbaz Sharif is the brother of Nawaz Sharif, the former Prime Minister of Pakistan. For much of his life, he was a businessman by profession. He ran the family-owned Ittifaq Group, a steel company which operated as Nawaz Sharif's corruption foundry. In 1988, he left the family business to join politics. He got elected to the Provincial Assembly of Punjab, the most politically important province of Pakistan. By 1997, he had become the chief minister of this province, a position he got elected to twice, once in 2008 and then again in 2013. This made him the longest-serving chief minister of the province, also the most corrupt, according to his critics. Here's why. In 1998, a year after he came to power, Shehbaz Sharif allegedly ordered the killing of 5 religious students, an allegation he has always refuted. Sharif was also named in the Panama Papers. At least 8 offshore companies were apparently linked to his name. That's not all. In 2019, the National Accountability Bureau of Pakistan seized 23 properties of Shehbaz Sharif and his son. They both were indicted on money laundering charges. Charges which the Sharif family has called politically motivated. Shehbaz Sharif is the leader of Pakistan's opposition. His party controls 84 seats, the most among opposition parties, which is why they've named him for the country's top office. The question is he fit for the job? Shehbaz Sharif is corrupt like any other Pakistani politician, but is also seen as an efficient administrator, someone who delivers on his promises in record time. But the thing that bodes in his favor the most is his relationship with the Pakistan army. It's less prickly than his brothers. He also has good foreign ties, particularly with China and Turkey, thanks to the many foreign trips he has accompanied his brother on. What about his views on India? They're more or less the same as others, but as the Chief Minister of Punjab, a province located right on India's border, he has often pushed for peace between the two countries. Given the Pakistan Army's control on civilian leadership, there's every reason to believe that if Shehbaz Sharif comes to power, he too will toe Rawalpindi's line.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.